welcome to this edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show for January 16th, 2022. My name is Rich Baxter, and I'm joined today by my good friend and co-host and better half of the show, Mr. Gary Mack. How are you, Gary?
I'm very good, Rich. Thanks so much for that introduction and a happy new year. And a happy new year to everybody out there. Can't believe we're 16 days already into the new year, Rich, and nothing cooking on the baseball front. They keep making uh, pleas or whatever you want to call it. The owners do, and the union keeps turning it down. So the latest was on Thursday, and we're waiting to see if the union counters with something.
Yeah, at least they had a meeting, as it was said, 45 days elapsed since the time that it was first announced that baseball was on a lockout. And at least it's a meeting. I mean, everybody was saying how the holidays would prevent them from meeting. I don't know why. They could have snuck a meeting in before the holidays, Christmas time, that sort of thing. Well, we didn't get a real meeting until a couple days ago now. And as you said, people are still um, waiting for an answer from the MLB players. And just this morning, getting ready for the show, I was reading some of the online comments from different fans and found a few brilliant ones. A lot of them are starting to go against the players in this. As you said, ownership seems to be reaching out, doing what they can to make this happen and get the season back on schedule. One of the comments, I'm trying to find it now, um, concerned hiring someday. Owners should invest in robotic players, which I thought was really interesting. It was like, wow, that you see these robots nowadays and they're getting more and more lifelike. Uh, is there a day where maybe we might see a robotic player? You said we had our first female MLB staff coach hired this past couple weeks. How about a robot?
Well, I guess we could. They wouldn't have to pay them much, and the maintenance would be pretty high. But I don't think they've gotten to that level of technology yet. A lot of the ones you see sometimes they tip over still, and
Yeah.
mostly good for servants. I don't know if they could run. It would be a slow motion game. But I would imagine, who knows, 100 years you could see that. But that would take the human element out of the game, and
It would.
you might as well just play it on a computer then.
Yeah. I mean, it struck me as funny. That comment was on MLB trade rumors. Guy's name there, I assume, Old York put that comment up there. So pretty cool. Never know. And I have a groundhog in my yard that I'm trying to chase away every year, Gary. And he came out today and uh, let me know that there'll be 6 more weeks of no baseball. So
It's-
whether he saw his shadow or not, we're going to have 6 more weeks of no baseball.
There you go, Rich. He's a little early, like about by 2, 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
coming out. But yeah, Rich. What worries me is that there's no urgency to this. They don't seem to be on either side. Neither side is rushing to the bargaining table. As I said, the league keeps making proposals. The union just shuts them down. Isn't really counter proposing. I mean, you said that some of the comments were in favor of the league instead of the players, and I can see why. The league has made some substantial proposals that are, or uh, that help the players, as far as I read into it, and uh, and the players aren't even discussing it. It just, I don't know what the deal is, and it concerns me.
Yeah, you wonder, what the stumbling points are and who's actually voting on this. Is there a group of players that represent all the players, like 30 some players, and do they take a vote from other guys? How does this hash out as far as solving something like this? The MLB is pretty concise. They have owners represented right on up to the commissioner. But behind the scenes, I wonder what really goes on with the baseball players union and how they determine that no, they don't want to accept an offer, or yes, they do want to accept an offer. Who has the leverage in this? I don't know, and that would be an interesting story for the real quote unquote media to cover. How does
Yeah.
things like this actually get solved?
Well, I think some of the issues that the players want, of course, the service time, the free agency thing, the draft they want fixed, and they don't. Both sides, I think, but more the players probably want to, stop the tanking, and they want teams to pay more money. Naturally, there are some teams that have a payroll of, I think Cleveland, I read, was at right now is at 28 million. I could be wrong with that number, but it's a ridiculous low number, and the union wants almost like a bottom. They want them that you have to pay at least $100 million a salary to your team to stop the tanking. Now I've got a different idea. If you want to stop the tanking, why don't you just flip the draft then? Let the team that wins the World Series get the number one draft. They were the best team. Why shouldn't they get the best player? The team that they lost to or beat in the World Series gets the number two draft, and then the playoff teams and so on. And the worst team, instead of getting the best pick, they get the last pick. To me, that would stop you from tanking. Because you wouldn't want to get the last pick every year, so you wouldn't be tanking anymore. You'd spend money then maybe to move up and hopefully get more competitive as you go along. That's my idea of one thing, but I mean, you got to negotiate. I mean, if the owners are coming, I'm reading here the league made a new proposal that increases the pay for players with 2+ years of service time, with the best players earning even more in bonuses based on performance. The proposal also included ideas to address players' concern regarding alleged service time manipulation to incentivize teams to include top prospects on opening day rosters. So, I mean, they seem to be making an effort to come up with different ideas. And, sometimes you just got to meet in the middle. I think what happened was the players felt they got screwed in the last contract, and now they want to get it all back at once. And you can't do that. Not coming off a pandemic year in which the owners lost millions of dollars and the league lost millions to billions of dollars. You just can't do that. You got to keep that in mind. And, the players didn't lose any money, or they lost in their pool, maybe, that they don't get from the owners because the income was down. But they got their salaries, so they really didn't lose much.
Yeah, just like currently the fans aren't losing much because it's the off season. If this thing drags into even spring training, they're going to awaken a beast out there, and that's the fan base. It's already brewing. Right now, it's hard for a lot of fans to get upset because, frankly, we didn't have baseball in the winter here to deal with. We didn't have things that we're missing so far, but comments are getting more and more prevalent online and amongst one another and in person. And, wouldn't that be a shame for baseball to lose fans? And I know baseball will probably never go away as a sport, but it's the fans out there that are going to suffer if things aren't finished up with the negotiations soon and baseball continues on as it has been, especially with, like you mentioned, a pandemic. We didn't know there would be a baseball season in 2020, prayed and hoped that it would happen. We got a 60 game season out of the mix, but now is not the time to do that again, so to speak. You're going to lose a lot of fans, and people might not care. Oh, well, baseball will continue, but it's the human being that's going to suffer. The fan, a father taking a son to a game. You're not going to have a
Right.
lot of that.
Right.
So it's just a shame that if this doesn't get settled, baseball could wake up that beast in the fan. And, years ago, they had to look forward to the fans' money for most of their income. Now it's television rights and other rights. And we'll talk about another company trying to get some rights this year from baseball. And, it's a whole lot of money for broadcast rights now. The ticket buyers are sort of like in second place and not
Mm-hmm.
thought of as much, I don't think.
Yeah, and that's kind of a shame because it's the ticket buyers and the people that watch at home. It is the viewers as well, but a lot of time they're the same person. And if you start turning off the ticket buyers, they may not watch. And
Yeah.
if you don't play in the summertime, people may find other things to do. Golf really got quite a boom back during the pandemic because a lot of people brushed off their clubs that maybe they hadn't played in a few years and played golf because it was something they could do outside. They didn't have to mask up, and people were home from work, or they were working from home, and they'd get their work done and rush out to get some exercise at the golf course. So, we learned in the pandemic people will find different things to do, and baseball can't take that chance because it's gonna hurt them for the next generation. In the '90s, that strike really set them back,
Yeah.
and it really a lot of people it took them years to get back, and now that they're starting to go back again, and then we get hit with the pandemic. Well, that kind of fed the fan because when last year came, people wanted, they were excited to go back to the ballpark. Um, but if it's a money thing now here again, and greed, people see it as the average fan sees it as greed
On
on
both
both
on both
sides.
sides. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not good because the fans are the backbone. The players themselves said how wonderful it was to have the fans back in the seats, how it adds to the game. And now you're going to turn them off by, the fans aren't big. They don't love the owners anyway, very rarely. They all think they're greedy and everything, but they tolerate them. But the players, if they show their greed, the fans can get nasty. They can turn on you. And then maybe that baseball card show doesn't show up as much because you were holding out for that money and you were outspoken about it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Um, the guys that make the real big bucks, they don't care. It's a drop in the bucket. But I don't know. They walk a dangerous line, and nowadays I don't think you can do that. You have to be more reasonable.
Yeah. And it's been said that MLB commissioner that called for the lockout may have done it a little prematurely. Um, they could have operated under a current plan now for a certain amount of time. I'm sure the players probably would have, but baseball took that first step, ownership, and locked it out. And according to the commissioner, he said, "Oh, that's the first step in reaching a decision in his eyes." So maybe that wasn't the right choice. But like you said, yeah, it's going to be the fan to suffer. They've discovered other ways of spending their money and time, as you said, golfing, fishing. I've never seen so many people fish that I saw last year, last spring. It was like,
Yeah.
3 times the amount of people in certain spots that were fishing, which I thought was great. I was like, amazed by, hey, people have been locked up for so long in their houses, masking, social distancing, the whole 9 yards. They were like, we got to get out of here and we got to get some stuff done. Bicycling, you saw a lot of
Right.
bicyclists on the
All
street.
right.
Everybody. I mean, and golfing and things like that's going to be a lot cheaper than going to a game. You buy 3 tickets to a baseball game and tell me how much you'll spend in a day. You could easily have
Hmm.
several rounds of golf a couple times a month for the same price.
Well, it depends upon where you play, but yeah,
True.
you go to
True.
a county or a state course or something like that, and it is definitely a lot cheaper. But yeah, they're walking a tightrope here, and I think the league is smart this time in it doesn't look, at least on the surface, it doesn't look like they're the ones stonewalling everything. You know, they're putting out the proposals. They're the ones, insisting on a meeting, and the players' union just seems to be sitting back and not doing anything and saying, "No, this is what we want." And that's I I, I don't get it because it's bad. It's going to be bad publicity for them, and I can't see how they don't see that.
Yeah, and if push comes to shove, of course, we've seen it in the past. Owners
Hmm.
can hire replacement players, things like that. So it could turn very ugly for the players, the fans, things like that. So January 16th, as we're doing the show, it's still time to solve this and get onto schedule. In other news, MLB Network cut ties with a longtime broadcaster and writer and all about sports, mainly baseball, Ken Rosenthal. That was a little surprise to me to hear that.
Yeah, supposedly he made a comment or was critical of Rob Manfred, and it came back to bite him in the butt, I guess, where they finally get rid of him. And I guess it's their priority if you attack the boss, supposedly. Uh, they can get rid of you, and he attacked the boss and they got rid of him. So he's not going to be hurting. No, he'll some network will pick him up probably. He'll be on something else, ESPN. Maybe he'll pick him up. Who knows?
Right.
Um,
And
you know,
he's still on Fox Sports and he still works for The Athletic, who
yeah,
we just learned the New York Times purchased Athletic. That was a place where a lot of sports writers ended up after leaving newspapers and things like that. And now you have a big conglomerate that bought them out. So, maybe there'll be another place now spring open that, these writers can have a voice without retribution, fears of retribution. Why should Ken Rosenthal? And, I've watched him over the years and he to me was always a level headed type of broadcaster, not one
mm-hmm.
to keep to the party line, so to speak, of, the MLB. They weren't necessarily signing his check. But with the MLB network, he had sent out, and I have a screenshot on our YouTube version of this show, and it said, "Can confirm MLB Network has decided not to bring me back. I'm grateful for more than 12 years I spent there, and my enduring friendships and on-air personalities, producers, and staff. I will always strive to maintain my journalistic integrity, and my work reflects that." So, I never really was a big Ken Rosenthal fan, but I appreciated his work that he did, especially on MLB Network. He always seemed to give you that fair assessment of
Hmm.
things. So, to be let go by a commissioner and Rob Manfred for just, speaking his mind, I think it's more of that woke personality type
Yeah.
of, mantra that, hey, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to squash you like a bug. I'm going to make pretend you never existed. So, that's what that's what's going on, really. I
And I
mean,
and I always wonder, with this guys, how do they figure out their taxes? I mean, they're on this show, they're on that show. He's been there 12 years now. Does he get a pension? I mean, it's an interesting thing, but I guess after 12 years, they've got such a slew of guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to go a little, as you say, they got a little woke. Maybe they want to bring in more women. Maybe they want to get younger and didn't want to say anything, But in that kind of job, it's really experience that counts because he's the guy that's got the connections,
yeah, and
you know?
just
So,
his own opinion should be a granted right in journalism. That's what this country's founded on. But, depending who you speak to, those things go out the window with certain people, like I don't agree with it. So I'm all of a sudden a big Ken Rosenthal fan. I'm going to follow more of what he does. I'm going to support his side of this, and I have a couple other favorite writers and that I follow as well. But you can see certain writers will stay away from what they may really feel about a subject and have to toe that party line, especially writers that write for specific teams. They're not going to go out on a limb and even mention that there might be a problem with ownership or, the GM. But that's like a PR firm to me. That's not journalism.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And what do we got? What do I see that Apple TV is wants to get involved with the MLB? Rich.
Yes, Apple joining the crowd that have already been with MLB, broadcasting games. That, of course, being YouTube, Facebook, Twitter already. You could have tuned into games over the years. A lot of people that might be a surprise to because they might not have been exposed to it. But yeah, that's the scuttlebutt around the MLB that Apple is now in serious talks to broadcast games. Of course, ESPN giving up some games for next year. And, here's another company stepping up to the plate, so to speak. I'm not sure if they'll have it on their Apple TV programming. That's probably where it would end up. But you also have Amazon out there that, also broadcast games as
Mm-hmm.
well. So they're taking a little bit away from broadcast television. And maybe some of the reason behind that is a lot of people drop their broadcast television, uh, especially cable. They, for whatever reason, are saving a lot of money every month. I remember talking to a fan a couple years ago on it, and that was just the beginning of it. But now it's really like mainstream with a lot of millennial watchers axing their cable connections, and that's what local outlets generally broadcast the games on, the local cable outlets. So,
Well,
yeah,
I don't know about you, Rich, but I have tried looking into different things, and I can't save any money when you get when you get the channels you want, and now they're all streaming. They've all got these streaming services, and you know, I I don't know. I've got a bone to pick with all of that. And if Apple TV goes on there and they get games and it's on Apple TV, you got to buy Apple TV every month. Uh, and now Disney Plus. You got Disney Plus, and I don't think some of the things are right about that either because they continue storylines. Disney owns Marvel. They own Star Wars franchise now, and they continue some of the storylines for like the Marvel movies and stuff. And if you don't have it, but you go to the movies, you're not gonna know what happened. I mean, you're gonna have a gap, and I don't think that's right. I just, not everybody's got it. I know they want everybody to get it, but I can't figure out a way to get all the stations we want and save money. I just can't. I've run YouTube TV, I've run Hulu TV, and when you start adding all these other things in,
Yeah.
it's not any cheaper. It
Yeah.
really isn't.
Keeps adding up with separate
Yeah.
subscriptions. And I've watched the Facebook games, I've watched the Google games, I've
Yeah,
watched some Twitter games, and they're hard to watch. They're hard to watch on because mainly you have to watch them on a computer screen, and that could be like a mobile type of screen. If you're real savvy, you could probably put it to your television, but you know, I don't do
well,
that.
or if you have a smart TV, you can get the app, like the YouTube app, but then you have to pay for it. Not the YouTube app, but Facebook is free as well. I think you can get on your TV. But yeah, if it's a game like I was watching the football last night on my phone because the TV was busy, and I was watching it on Yahoo Sports, and it was free, so I didn't care.
Right.
Uh, but the point is that if they start taking away the free stuff, it's gonna hurt them again. I don't. I don't know. They talk about they're worried about the kids not playing baseball and getting into the sport, and yet they keep doing things like this. And don't they think that hurts the sports? If you've got a family and the kids say, "Oh, I want Apple TV so we can watch the ball game." Oh, I can't afford Apple TV.
Yeah.
Senior citizens on a fixed income, you can't afford all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's all about the money, as you said earlier. The TV money has replaced the fans and the seat money, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
And I agree with that. And I used to watch MLB TV quite a lot, and I'm not sure why that you can't watch your own team. Well, I know why, but in this day and age, I think if you spend the money for MLB.TV, you should be able to watch your own home team at home. You spent a good
Yeah.
portion of money to do that, but to protect the rights of, cable operators mainly that currently have the biggest contracts with MLB, you can't watch your own team at home, which I think is counterproductive for getting it. But MLB.TV had 10 billion minutes of viewership in 2021, all time high for them. So there's a plenty of customers that have it. And if you live in, say, New Jersey and like the Dodgers, that might be perfect for you because there's no
Mhm.
blackout of the Dodgers. You can watch all their
Right.
games.
Right.
So, that's my bone of contention with MLB.TV signing up for it, even though I like what it offers. You can't watch the home team.
Yeah. I had it last year, and I'll be honest. The only reason I got it is because I got it for free because of my cell phone carrier.
Right.
So I took advantage of that deal. I mean, naturally, I'm gonna sign up for it. I'm getting it for free.
And
I'm
you
technically
beat
I'm
me
not
by a
getting it.
week. You beat me by
I
a week
beat
signing
beat you
up.
by a week.
And I signed up and I didn't get it for free. We won't mention the carrier because we're not getting paid. We're not getting any jingle from it.
That's right.
We're not getting a little slice of the pie.
That's
But
right.
I'm interested to know if I'll get it this year. And
Well, we'll
if
see
not,
if they do it.
yeah,
Somebody I had read somewhere, or somebody told me that they've done it the last couple of years. So
yeah, that's
uh,
true.
let's hope that they keep doing it. And that's another pet peeve of mine, though, that they don't. Now they got this thing. Certain carriers about you get a free iPhone if even new users and current users. Well, why don't they just send me an email and tell me that? Why do I got to see about that on a commercial on television and then try to read the small print to see if I qualify? And it's just send me an email.
Yeah.
And I send you my money every month. There's no reason why you can't send me an email and say, "Hey, you want a new iPhone? We'll give you the new iPhone." You know, it's just keep your contract another 2 years or something. I would do it.
Yeah, and the company that we're both with, they do have that. They do have a program that you can sign up for um, off the air. I'll mention it to you, but
Okay.
it's yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But it's nice that you get something included that you don't necessarily pay for sometimes with another service. Because, like you
Right.
said, it adds up. All your entertainment adds up,
Yeah.
and it's not cheap anymore.
No. No.
And it never was cheap, actually.
No. No. But it's even worse now.
Yep. So, why don't we take a little short break here? We'll show you and tell you
All
how
right.
to sponsor our show, become part of what we do here on the program, and we'll be back in just a second. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. Here's how you can help us and become a sponsor of the show. Just go to our place where we keep the show on the internet. That's anchor.fm/ baseball talk radio show. It's all one word. Then you'll get to our main page for the Baseball Talk Radio Show. You can either listen on Spotify there, hit the support button, or send us a message. You can send us an audio message, believe it or not. So check it out there at anchor.fm/ on your keyboard, Baseball Talk Radio Show. And that will take you to our main page. You can also sponsor our show at patreon.com/ baseball talk. There you can subscribe to different levels of sponsorship of the show. If you need any help finding these, just ask me or Gary to point it out to you via email, rich@baseballtalkradio.com or gary@baseballtalkradio.com. Gary, why don't you tell the folks about the other areas that they can check out the show?
And check out the Facebook page. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/baseball talk radio show. So go check us out and you can keep up to date. And, if you go and watch the YouTube version of the show, please subscribe. Yes. And hit that like button because that makes the YouTube analytics people very happy. And it also makes us happy. So whatever you can do to help out, even if it's just subscribing to the show, that's a big thing for us. And, we appreciate it.
Okay, we're back talking baseball with you here on the Baseball Talk Radio Show podcast with Rich Baxter and Gary Mack. A little bit of information there on how you can sponsor uh, our show, support what we do. Of course, you can listen to us on baseballtalkradio.com. Of course, it's the Baseball talk radio podcast location that's adding more and more shows every week. And every weekend, I try to listen to as many as I can. One of my favorites is Gary's show, Mets Musings, and I also listen to Baseball PhD, which generally releases shows on Sundays. So check it out, baseballtalkradio.com. A lot of different shows that you can just click on and listen to and enjoy. If you're a big baseball fan out there, wholeheartedly recommend it.
Yeah, certainly, and check them all out. There's such a diversity of opinion out there. It's a wonderful thing. And Rich, I don't know if you saw this story, but we have a woman manager. We're going to have it. Rachel Balkovac, who was a coach within an MLB organization, is setting another record now. The 34-year-old will be named manager for the Yankees' low A affiliate in Tampa this season. The source confirmed last Sunday, and this was first reported by The Athletic. Balkovec will become the first woman to manage an affiliated minor league team. She spent the last 2 seasons as hitting coach for the Yankees' rookie level Florida Complex League, and last year she served as the first base coach for the All-Star Futures game in Denver, another first for a woman. She called her trailblazing a responsibility that she doesn't take lightly. So, women getting into the sport, and we're going to see a first female manager before a robot.
Maybe you could see the way this is heading. Um, Nice looking gal as well. Probably a longtime sports fan herself. And a couple years ago, I had the chance to watch some women's softball for college, the Ivy League. And let me tell you, some of those players were exciting to watch, awesome players, and congratulations on being able to break into the Yankees organization and become a manager there for her. And really happy to see that. Really pleased.
Yeah, she's done a good job with them, and as you say, I enjoy the collegiate softball. How uh, those pitchers with their arms whipping that arm. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and they're getting speeds up to 100 miles an hour. Some of them 95, 90, and I don't know how to hit his hit. How even see the ball? It's amazing. It's a fun sport. People don't watch a lot of softball anymore, and having played a lot in my youth, the slow pitch softball, it's really a fun sport, and it's fast because it's only 60 feet bases.
Yeah.
And, you can get down that line pretty quick, and you got to make some quick plays. And those players are terrific to watch. It's just ESPN sometimes runs them late at night if you're a night owl like me, and you can catch the different collegiate games in season, and watch it because the talent's unbelievable.
Yes, indeed. So check it out. Especially if baseball isn't back, you have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Um, MLB opening day is supposed to be March 31st. All 30 teams supposed to be in action. And I did a little research on this year's All-Star game, Gary, for 2022. Los Angeles is the venue for this year. Tuesday, July 19th, it's supposed to happen over in Tinseltown.
And I doubt if they'll move it from there. So this year, like they screwed Atlanta last year, moving the All Star game to Colorado. But I think in the long run, Atlanta got them back because they ended up making it to the World Series. So
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of earned it back, made it back. They couldn't move it from there, so they couldn't move the World Series, so they got it back. But LA should be interesting. Fourth time in franchise history, the Dodgers will hold it. Third time in Los Angeles, and the second at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
So I guess they must have held it. Um, it says Ebbets Field in 1949 and the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in '59. That was where the Dodgers played while they built Dodger Stadium, which now I believe is the second oldest stadium in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it is.
I think so. After Fenway.
Fenway Park, which I toured last year, was completely happy with that. I was, a little spoiled with Philadelphia, where the action is close. If you're sitting in the first level, go to Boston sometimes, and you feel like you're on the field almost. It's really scary because you have to really keep your head into the game because you're right there. It's amazing how small those old ballparks were, and yeah, you're right on top of the action.
And how steep some of the stairs are too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the ball, I had a first level seat down the first base line, and some chopped balls to the second baseman felt like they were coming at me, like I was like, wow, I better get ready for this because it was literally ground level. And, you got a good appreciation for, the game and how different it looks on television, certain hits, things like that. But yeah, July 19th in Los Angeles. And previously, the last time they staged it there, they're saying is 1980. So that's a
Yeah,
long time ago.
yeah. Well, they try to mix it around, and then you get new stadiums, and they try to have it at the new stadiums. So, and we have had a slew of new stadiums. I mean, it started with probably Baltimore, and then oh geez, I can't even remember all the new Yankee Stadium, and then the Mets moved, and the Tigers opened up a new stadium,
Yeah.
and the Angels renovated, Kansas City renovated, and it's just you had all of those openings and stuff, and it all added in there.
Yeah. Just like the football stadiums now, they're coming out. They look like giant spaceships. Some of them down in New Orleans, Dallas, huge $1 billion complexes, Las Vegas, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're they're in a
They're
life of
looking
luxury
modern.
for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Rich, I don't know if you have anything else, but
We got some retirements in baseball.
oh yeah,
Got a couple big
yeah,
names there.
yeah. John Lester, what is it? 3 times he won the world championship. Member of the starting rotation, has retired after a 16-year career, which he established himself as one of the top left-handers of his generation. He went 200 and 117 with a 3.66 ERA in 452 career appearances with the Red Sox, the A's, the Cubs, the Nationals, and the Cardinals. Five-time All-Star. Um, what do you think? Hall of Fame for Lester? I think he's on the borderline there.
I'm thinking yes for Leicester. Give me a second. I'll bring up his stats for the show. But just the time that he's spent and the success that he's had, I think he's going to be somebody that will make the Hall of Fame. And let me just click this button
No
here.
Cy
We'll
Youngs though, and I don't think he won a Cy Young, and that's you know
Look at his record:
That's a big
200
thing.
wins,
Yeah,
117 losses. That's a very nice
that's a nice
spread.
record.
Yeah, Boston, of course, the bulk of that: 110 wins, 63 losses. Um, Extended his career in Chicago, and he had mixed success as he was nearing his 38th year, which he decided to retire. And he commented that, coming back from injuries and things like that, he couldn't do it as fast as a younger guy.
Yeah.
He might have been able to pitch another year. He had pretty good success um, leading up to that point. But let's scroll down here for our YouTube watchers here. And by the way, as Gary mentioned, hit that like and subscribe button, because it really sets off the YouTube channel well. The company loves it. We love it. Gives us more chances to bring you more great content. So here's some of those Hall of Fame statistics off of the baseballreference.com site. He's just at that edge, it looks like. Some previous pitchers that he pitched with, similar pitchers. Roy Halladay, of course, making the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
But you have, like you mentioned, Gary, a couple other great pitchers that didn't make the Hall of Fame yet. You have Dwight Gooden, David Cohn, Tim Hudson. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So I don't know. I think he's kind of on the bubble there.
yeah, he's somebody that is very close. Maybe if he could have pitched another year or so, but of course he is 38, so that was a
Yeah, yeah. You don't know.
nice accomplishment. But
Did he ever win 20 games in a season? Yeah,
let's
must
see.
have,
Let's
right?
go back up top to the listings here. Not batting. We want pitching, not postseason. Let's go back to should be up top here.
There
Here
you
it
go.
is. Um, let's look at the seasons here. Wins. Is that it? Here it is.
That should
Here's
be it. Yeah,
here's the main
standard.
stats. 19 is what I see twice.
Yeah.
18 games um, once. 16 games a couple times. 200 wins.
Yeah, I don't know. Tough to say.
Yeah.
What's going to hurt him is that he never won 20 games, and what you could argue who does nowadays, and he never won a Cy Young. So
Yeah, he was 4-1 last year, but a 4.36 ERA. So this sort of sneaks up on a player. We've had some other ones retire as well this off season. Melky Cabrera, um, just retiring from baseball. January 14th, it was announced. Cameron Maybin, guy that we've heard about for many years.
right.
15 MLB seasons, hanging it up at 34 years old. And Kyle Seager, also 34, um, spent his entire career with Seattle, retired on the 29th of December. So, yeah, that's the sad thing about baseball. You like to see baseball in person and see these guys. You may have seen them for the last time last year. So then they slip into that retirement where you never seem to see them or hear about them again.
Yeah, and you're getting old, Rich, when you've seen sons of ball players and grandsons of ball players finish their career, play their whole career. So, uh, it's um, it's a
Yeah.
shame, but 34 to be retired, and he's got another 31 years before he gets Social Security, and I don't think he'll be hurting no for money if he was wise with his investments.
Yeah, that's for sure. So players and owners still far apart here as we're doing the podcast, but we still have a ton of things to talk about. And I'm sure as time goes on, hopefully we'll be able to talk about that there's a settlement involved so people can start making plans. I noticed one thing, Gary. I don't know if you were on your Mets site lately, but over at the Phillies site, tickets for sale. They're bombarding you. Oh, buy your individual seats, buy your ticket plans now. Let's get your money in.
Yeah,
So
well,
that doesn't
I y-
stop.
with COVID still raging around, um, I don't know. I'm laying low, so I don't know how they're gonna do it, but people will buy and they'll figure that they'll get their money back if there's no season. But I'll watch on TV for the time being.
That's true. Well, we want to thank you. Next show, we'll do some stats on our listeners. Of course, on the off season, our numbers go down a little bit, but it's still nice to talk about stats of where you listen from, that sort of thing. I know a lot of people look forward to that. And like Gary and I were mentioning, make this the year you sponsor the show. We don't bombard you with ads. Um, we just try to do this show for you, and it'll give us a little chance to bring some more good things for you. So check it out. Sponsor the show, Gary. You want to lead us out for the second show of 2022?
Well, Rich, it's good to be back with you in another year, 2022. And I hope everybody tunes in, and thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you next time on another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. Have a great week, everybody.